friends, and welcome to the first ever ADemonicShadow Tops video. This one's going to be on my hardest trophies I've obtained. I was recently getting to 100 platinums, and despite them not really meaning anything to a lot of people, they do somewhat hold as a little trophies trophies for things that you've accomplished in video games for various things, hard things that take a while, platinuming certain games, being part of the 1% of certain stuff like that. But this is actually just going to be a quick video, just me talking about some of the hardest things that I've had to do to get trophies in video games. This will not require platinums. I may do that one on its own, the hardest platinums I've ever obtained. And then this also won't include difficulties, because that's something that goes throughout the whole game and actually makes the whole game harder, and I feel like that's something else that could be on its own top videos. But this is actually, once again, hardest trophies I've ever obtained. One quick video, nothing too special, but and I didn't really, there's no real order for these, to be honest. They're all freaking hard. But beat Zuku for Wipeout. As you can see, details are equal or beat the lap time of 30 seconds, 30.82 milliseconds on a Google Pass forward. Speed lap Venom, using Venom as the speed setting and using the vehicle Piranha. This trophy is known for being so hard. Once again, there's only 0.4% of people who've gotten it, but this is one of the trophies that was so hard that Zuku, one of the developers who set the time, he received hate mail from trophy hunters and people like that who couldn't beat it just because of how hard it was. And this is one of the things I do like about that, is they didn't patch it, they didn't make it any easier. And it was really fun to do. It wasn't that hard for me. What I did is, when you're doing, there's another trophy for this game that's called Lap Out, which is do 99 laps on a certain track. I just set the 99 laps for this setting. So I played it on this map, on this speed setting, using that vehicle, and I would just keep going until I eventually beat it. And I think I beat it before I got to lap 40. And then I had to grind out the last of it to get the 99 lapped out. I could probably do it again. I don't want to, because it's kind of hard. But moving on, we have Lunatic from Outlast, which is finish the game on insane mode. 0.3% gold. You can see it up there. Now, the thing that I did to myself, I don't know if it made it easier or made it harder, is that I speedrun the game playing on insane. Now, if you don't know, if you played Outlast and you don't know, insane is when if an enemy touches you, you're dead. Like, literally, if he grabs you, if anytime you would take damage from an enemy in the game, you are dead and you start the game over. There's no save points, there's no checkpoints. You start the whole game over. It took a few tries to just learn the route and everything like that. But it's actually pretty fun. I was able to finally do it on stream, because I beat it off stream, and then I was like, I kind of wish I did it on stream. But so I did do it on stream, and then I uploaded it to YouTube, which is very weird, because when I beat it off stream, it took maybe like a day or two. But then when I tried to do it on stream, it took like freaking 3 weeks. And several tries to whatever. This one ties in for God of War Reproduction. Sorry. Which is kill Zeus, and then a maze, which is beat the labyrinth without dying or failing. Now, killing Zeus is probably the reason why it's on here. It's because of playing on Titan mode, but I want to include in difficulties. So, but that's probably the disclaimer for this one. He's mainly hard just because of difficulty, but him himself is hard himself. Fighting him himself is already hard, and just fighting it on Titan, it just makes it even harder. But this was part of when it was released for PS4. This was one of my one stream, one run, 100%. So I was able to, platinum this game literally all on one stream, and that's all up on YouTube in case you want to see that. But beating the labyrinth is a certain part in the game where once again is a labyrinth, and you naturally can't fail or die, and it's quite hard because, you know, they put you in there's a situation where they have spikes that come out of the ground while you're fighting some hard and annoying enemies, so you kind of have to watch your footing when you fight them, while at the same time you have to fight them. So if you die from necessarily fighting the enemies, or if you fail, because you also have to protect the girl while you're doing this, and if she gets hurt or dies, then that's failing. You have to start over. And then if you know, get killed by the spikes, you die. You have to start over. You have to start from the complete beginning of the labyrinth, which it's about 10 minutes, you know, 5 to 10 minutes, completing it all the way through. But it's still quite challenging, and it's something I did want to add on to the list. Zeus is a lovely fight. It becomes pretty much like a fighting game, and I thought that was really cool. And whoever thought of that, I applaud them. Next up, we have Social Lubricant. As you can see here by the date, this is what was before they patched it, which was even harder, which is complete level 10 against all drinking game opponents. There, in the game of Watchdog, there are 3 opponents that you can play drinking games with. The concept of the game is that you use the left analog stick and the right analog, left and right analog stick to do, the nextly move a target to a certain location on the screen. Because you're drinking, and it gets progressively harder. So, like, one of them would be move the left stick to, you know, to the top, and move the right stick to the bottom, and then hold it there for a little bit. And it's like, that's pretty simple, but it gets really complicated because they'll do something where they'll invert the controls, and then they'll do something where they invert the controls, and then they'll switch the screen. So they'll have the left stick on the right side inverted, and then the right stick on the left side of the screen inverted, and then you have to, like, follow certain paths. You have to do things like keep your cursor inside of a circle while the circle's moving on screen, and then they'll, like, increase the speed. It's freaking, like, it took me like a few days to beat it, and it was one of the things where I was like, I'll wake up, I'll, like, get up, try it a few times, rage quit, go about my day. But it was so hard, and Watchdog got a lot of hate from trophy whores and stuff like that, that they had to patch it and make it easier. Like, it was so hard they had to patch it. That's how hard it was. And not only that, but a lot of people were just casually just complaining. Like, once again, I did it pre-patched, and it was a bronze trophy for some stupid reason. Still counting for Mirror's Edge, obtained a time trial star rating of 50, and this is without DLC, because at this time, this is before I necessarily had the money to buy DLC, before I got my job or whatever. But moving on. In order to get this, there's time trials, and if you got 3 stars on all the time trials, then you would have like 60 stars. So it was kind of cool that you actually didn't have to 3-star all of them to get this trophy, but some of the stuff you were, like, it's time trials and for Mirror's Edge, one of the perfect games to speedrun. And you would think you're going from objective A to B, and you just run there as quickly as possible, but some of the paths you had to take just to 3 stars is insane. Like, some of them you had to jump on a fence and then run on the fence to, like, a wall, and then run up the wall, run onto another fence, and then run to your, like, you had to completely take some weird route to get to the objective rather than just running straight forward to it. It's like, the people who found these, like, good job, because I completely taking the wrong path. But I'm 0.8% pretty glad that, once again, that they had it to where you had the 3-star. Otherwise, this probably would have been higher up on the list, or I probably wouldn't even have this trophy. Who knows? The God is Born from Catherine, which is conquer the final stage of battle. I don't even think it's I don't want to say it's unbeatable as one player, but I want to say it's pretty much close to unbeatable on one player. Like, you can play this on 2 players, which is what I did for the last 2 stages of Babel, And when you do that, you necessarily just have to, you don't have to get as far as you would get on one player. So that kind of makes it easier, but at the same time, you're playing with 2 controllers. I didn't do this for the front. I did this myself using 2 controllers, which is, like, it's weird. Like, you don't have to go too far, but you have to learn, you have to master, not learn, you have to master playing with 2 controllers and making sure that your second player doesn't die. Otherwise, you have to start over, or making sure you know, you don't get trapped or trap your second character. Like, you have to really learn the techniques of Catherine and, you know, pushing and pulling blocks to make sure that you don't kill your second player. So this really does take it to the max of your Catherine skills, outside the 8-bit puzzle game, which was kind of challenging itself, but relatively just too many levels for my taste. Moving on, we have Hard to the Core, which is conquer Dead Space 2 on hardcore mode. Doing this requires you, well, it's actually beating the game, so technically this is a difficulty game, but I want to throw in an exception, because the reason why this is so hard is that you play on the second difficulty setting, which is, I think, just hard, and I want to say it's hard because I want to say the maximum, the hardest difficulty is Z-Lot. So you play on hard, and the thing that makes this one so hard, or the one that adds an extra twist, is that you have to beat the game with only 3 saves. Now, when you really think about it, throughout the game, there's probably 7 parts you wish you can save before, and depending on how good you are, depends on necessarily how good you are or how much time you have, depends on where you necessarily want to put those 3 saves, because those are crucial. Because once again, if you die, you go back to your last save, and if you're playing the game and you haven't saved yet and you die, you start over. So you'd think the 3 saves would make it easier, you know, than like beating the game without dying would be freaking crucial. Like, once again, it's like 16 hours, I want to say, beating the game or something like that. But the thing about this for me is, like, getting all the trophies for Dead Space 2, literally all of them, outside this trophy, took me about half a week. Getting this trophy itself took me like another week, and I had to take a break. And one of my friends was watching me play this, and he was watching, you know, me trying to beat it and everything like that for a few days, and even he would be, you know, panicking and stuff like that. Like, I had moments where I would get to the last boss, and I'm like trying to calm myself and like relax, and I forget that there's a quick time event, and I died, and I'm like, damn it, fuck. But it's weird, because when I got this trophy, it was like, alright, this is my last attempt, because I need to move on and play other games, and then I eventually beat it, and I was like, this game is self-aware. And this is definitely at the top of my most difficulties, because it took me quite a while to beat this next one. But Marvelous Collector, I'm sorry, which is acquire all items acquired in hard time attack. Now in Shadow of Colossus, there's time attack, and there's a hard version of them. In hard version, it's nice that you have a shorter time, and you have more symbols that you have to attack, instead of like the 1 or 2 some of the enemies have. They'll actually add in more that you actually have to get to, stab, and kill, and you have to do that under a certain amount of time. Now, the reason why this one took me so long to do, because it took me a month, is the Colossus before the final boss and the third Colossus, which, at least to me, I would say the third one is based on skill. The one before the last boss, the 16th one or the 15th one, is based on luck. The third Colossus, you have to be like a speedrunner. Like, if you make one mistake, you're starting over. If something doesn't go right, you're starting over. Like, when you first start the battle, he does like a lunge attack into the ground. You get on his sword and you get like midway, and then when he releases it and you know, pulls it up, you have to use the momentum to get onto the little symbol that's on his chest or near it, and if you don't get anywhere near it or pretty much land on top of it, you're starting over. And this one itself it took me forever to do it, because you have to do everything flawlessly, and he's quite a tower, so if you fall off once, you're starting over. So you have to manage your grip perfectly. If you like fall even like a few steps or something like that, you're pretty much starting over. You have to really master where to recharge your grip and everything like that. And then the 16 Colossus or Colossus before the final boss, in order to fight that one, in order to beat that one, at least to me, is based on luck. Because there's some points where you'll be gripping on the spot, and he'll be shaking you off, and you won't move because, you know, you're just not moving because, you know, you have grip, so you can be able to like attack or move on. And there's other times where you'll be in the same exact spot and he'll be doing the same exact, you know, get off me, and you'll be shaking, you can't hold on, and you're kind of just flailing over there, flailing while you're gripping onto him, waiting for him to stop so you can continue to climb. So at times, climbing from one spot to another may require all your grip, because he's just shaking so much, and the game's just like, you know, F you, I'm gonna shake a lot. And then at other times you'll go from one spot to another and you'll have almost full grip just because you're not shaking, because it's like completely random. So that's why that took me so long to beat that. But that nicely are, you know, my hardest trophies that I've obtained. Definitely Shadow of Colossus being the longest, the hardest, because it took the longest. And I just necessarily wanted to make a video on that. So if you want to, you know, leave, you know, your comments of your hardest trophies, I would definitely like to see that. And, you know, you talk about the stories of how you got in them, and to the point where you're pretty much, you know, about to rage out, quit, this is your last try, and then you end up beating it, because those stories are kind of fascinating and just resolved, and I love the challenge. And that's something, you know, trophies can, you know, give that other games, you know, necessarily won't have, because, you know, you're not going to play the game on a harder difficulty sometimes just because there's no trophy, or sometimes you're not curious. Sometimes you look it up and you find out that this trophy's infamously, everyone hates it, and you're like, I wonder why. And it's like, oh, because it's really hard, or it takes forever, you know. But once again, quick video, ended up being 16-17 minutes, but whatever. I do want to thank you for watching. If you did, once again, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Thank you for watching, and until the next ADemonic Talk video, ADemonic out.